Welcome to The Priority Shift, a podcast dedicated to focusing on your true priorities, both personal and professional, using the 80-20 method. I'm your host, Christina Walker. Let's dive in. Episode 31, The Spirit of Spirit. This past weekend, a major airline carrier, Spirit, closed their doors. I'm not an expert on what went wrong, but I thought it was an interesting look on who their niche market was and how they operated and some of the 80-20 that worked really well for them. I have flown only once with Spirit, and it was recently, but I have to say I would have flown with them again. They had a cheap direct flight from Nashville, Tennessee to Fort Lauderdale for my last-minute cruise that I was taking, and it was a perfect option. Let's talk through who Spirit was and who their ideal client was, or their 80s. Spirit was a budget airline with specific routes throughout the U.S. They had low-cost, one-way ticket flights depending on the route, and everything else had a cost to it. With your ticket, you received one personal item, like a backpack or a purse, and if you wanted a carry-on, it would cost extra. The idea was you can cheaply get a flight ticket, but any extras you were going to have to pay for. And for those people that do not like to think ahead, they would have to pay more for the extras the closer you got to your departure. An example where it got me was I was planning to just do a backpack onto the flight for our cruise. Purchased the tickets for me and my mom, and about a week later, we convinced each other that we should just pay for a checked bag. My logic was that a checked bag and a carry-on were not that much different in cost, but I could check anything that we purchased on the boat to bring back home. This little shenanigans cost me an extra $20 versus if I had just made the decision at the beginning. But if we would have waited to do that decision at the airport, it would have cost us an additional $30 more, so $50 total. Spirit also ran a little bit on chaos, but honestly, so does their clientele that love them. They are the budget savers that are looking to save every penny, and so was Spirit. But they also didn't take some things too seriously. At the end of the flight, there were always some random person that received an extra 1,000 miles gift certificate just for being on the flight. And it truly was random, not just the premium or first class seats. But the flight attendants, people checking us in, and everything in between were professional and enjoyable employees. They just knew the rules and they were not messing around with people trying to sneak more onto the plane, like that extra carry-on that you did not pay for. As I reflect on Spirit shutting their doors and all the people impacted by this news, I am reminded again of the phrasing that I hate. It's just business, it's not personal. Because it's not just business. That one decision impacted 17,000 employees' lives in a blink of an eye, plus all the people that were in the middle of traveling. It also is a reminder of what I have shared in the past few episodes, that all these employees were working on things that were important. Many, I would assume, had made sacrifices with friends and family to be there for a company, and now the company is no longer there for them. I am intrigued to see what happens now in the aviation industry as we follow along. But I'm reminding you to spend the time that you have focused on your true 80s. Spend the time with the friends and families that bring you joy. Take those bucket list trips to wherever. Do the things that fill your cup so full that when a business throws a curveball into your life, you have more than paperwork to remember those years with. Thanks for listening, and make sure to leave us a 5-star review on your favorite listening platform. And share this with a friend, colleague, or manager. Find more info at PriorityShiftSolutions.com and reach out to Christina directly to get started with coaching and applying the 80-20 method.